This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Nothing would be worse than declaring victory before the victory is won.
Tonight, President Trump announcing an extension to federal social distancing guidelines, while he says the next 2 weeks are critical for the country. Plus, the U.S. Surgeon General says Indianapolis could be an emerging hotspot for the coronavirus pandemic. His advice to Hoosiers on how we can help stop the spread of the virus. And several local organizations are stepping up to make sure Hoosier healthcare workers on the front lines have the equipment they need. Our Troy Washington tells us the big way the community is working together to battle the coronavirus in Indiana. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is standing by tracking your latest forecast. Kyle, I think we all enjoyed seeing that sunshine outside today. Many people got outside, but it was very windy.
Yeah, the temperatures were very comfortable. The wind, though, was an issue if you were outdoors. In fact, it got to 52 miles per hour for our top gust in Indianapolis, and several locations made it over that 50-mile-per-hour threshold earlier today. Good news is the winds are starting to subside. There's still breezy out there, though, now out of the west, around 15 to 20 miles per hour. And I think those gusts will stay about 30 miles per hour or less through the overnight. Temperatures really are still pretty comfortable out there. We're at 54 in the city, 57 for you in Bloomington, and down to 50 in Kokomo. Satellite and radar shows there are some showers in Michigan. They will stay there as you head out the door in the morning. We will have dry conditions, sunshine, and temperatures in the middle 40s. We'll take you through the rest of your Monday in just a few minutes.
Kyle, thank you. We begin now with the very latest from Washington. President Trump announced today an extension of the federal social distancing guidelines. This after the U.S. was named as the new epicenter of the COVID-19 outbreak, with more than 130,000 cases and 2,000 deaths reported. Melissa Rainey has this new information for us tonight.
This is not a lockdown. It is a travel advisory to be implemented by the states, in essence.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has issued a travel advisory for residents of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, urging them to refrain from any non-essential domestic travel for 2 weeks. More than half of the cases of coronavirus in the country are in those 3 states, along with nearly half of the deaths. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says that won't be much different than what people in his state are already doing.
The fact of the matter is people really aren't traveling a whole lot. A travel warning we're fine with. The fact of the matter is we are all in on flattening that curve, social distancing as aggressive as any states in America.
President Trump floated the idea of a mandatory quarantine for the area before members of the White House Coronavirus Task Force talked him out of it.
The reason for that is that you don't want to get to the point where you're enforcing things that would create a big of difficulty, morale and otherwise, when you could probably accomplish the same goal.
Meanwhile, the task force has received proposed guidelines on relaxing social distancing in areas, particularly in Middle America, where infection rates are low. That would allow some businesses and schools to reopen. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
Melissa, thank you. The president says federal social distancing guidelines will be in effect until April 30th. He also said he hopes the country will be on its way to recovery by June 1st. An update finalizing the White House Coronavirus Task Force plans and a summary of its findings are expected to be released on Tuesday. In Indiana, the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise. The State Department of Health says more than 1,500 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. That's nearly 300 more than we reported this time last night. 676 of those cases are in Marion County. 32 deaths have been reported. Nearly 10,000 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus. Taking a closer look at those numbers, 43.4% of positive cases in the state are among Hoosiers aged 0 to 49. 56.7% are Hoosiers 50 and above. 52% of positive cases are female and 47% are male. We expect to get updated numbers tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. Today, in a series of tweets, U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams named Indianapolis as an emerging hotspot for the coronavirus. He says he often gets asked, when will this be over? And he says the honest answer is it depends. He says it's all about flattening the curve and raising the bar so local response capacity isn't overwhelmed. That means driving down acute demand for COVID-19 care and elective procedures and increasing telehealth, social distancing, and good hand and cough hygiene to stop the spread. Tonight, State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box is also addressing ways Hoosiers can stop the spread of the virus. She says continuing to practice social distancing is key.
Do you know why it's so critical for us all to do our part? If no one practiced social distancing, a person infected can spread COVID-19 to 2 or more people in just 5 days. In 30 days, that same person will have spread COVID-19 to more than 400 people. But that number drops significantly if half of us practice social distancing.
She goes on to say if we all practice social distancing, one person can make a difference and help keep our families and our communities safe. Communities all across the state are getting creative when it comes to working together to help those on the front lines. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to show how people are using their time, materials, and energy to be part of something positive.
I think that if we put all of our energy to it, we can really make a real difference as we try to weather this together.
In the face of adversity, Pastor Ann Brockett knows the way to take on COVID-19 is to do it together. That's why Traders Point Christian Church is teaming up with other churches and ordering 200,000 KN95 masks for Central Indiana hospitals through Launch Fishers.
They know that Eskenazi has probably the biggest need, and then I'm hearing Methodist and the VA. Obviously, we know that nursing homes need them and first responders need them. So that'll be the challenge, is trying to figure out how to get them to the people that have the greatest need for them.
He's heard from his own members working in hospitals that supplies are needed.
And so I've been talking to a few of them directly, and they've been telling us for a while just how bad it is and that they're rationing masks.
The plan is to give them more than enough to do their jobs and keep them protected in the process.
That's what Hoosiers do. They take care of each other.
Erica Pike is using her hands, her sewing machine, and her background as a seamstress to give to those on the front lines in hospitals, helping slow the spread of COVID-19.
I mean, Hoosier hospitality, that's not just a joke. That's a real thing.
Sewing and serving started small but has grown into a network of thousands of people looking to make masks, and more hands are coming on deck by the second.
In less than a week, we had filled, over 3,000 requests for masks.
From what started out as just a simple question, has turned into 25,000 requests for these in 11 different counties throughout the state. And the number of requests just keeps growing. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you. Your help is needed. You can find details in this story on the RTV6 app with ways that you can get involved. Working together, the Health Services Department with Mount Vernon Community Schools donated 1,800 pairs of surgical gloves, and the Science Department donated 24 protective goggles to Hancock Regional Hospital. The hospital posted this picture of the items on Facebook with a message saying, quote, thank you, Mount Vernon Community School Corporation. Your generosity is so appreciated. We want to hear more stories of Hoosiers working together during this time. Share the positive efforts going on in your community by emailing us at workingforyou@rtv6.com. Starting this week, stricter visitation rules will go into place at Hancock Regional Hospital in Greenfield, but they're also taking steps to make sure you can see your loved ones that are hospitalized. Starting Monday, in-person visitation will no longer be allowed, but the team has partnered with technology company 9-Star Connect to bring a new e-visit program to the hospital.
We have iPads that we have outfitted so that you can actually come to the hospital, drive up to the portico in front, and we can hand you an iPad, and then you can park right there or in our parking lot and use the Wi-Fi that 9-Star Connect has so graciously put into our parking lot to connect and talk to your loved one face to face.
Hancock County has had 13 confirmed cases and 1 death. The team says they have had more than doubled their ICU capacity and have nearly 3 times the ventilator capacity than before. New at 11 o'clock, an effort to help parents who are considered essential workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. The YMCA of Greater Indianapolis is expanding its child care services. The program for kids ages 5 to 12 started last week at Benjamin Harrison YMCA. But tomorrow it's being added at Baxter, Hendricks Regional Health, Ursay Family, Jordan, and the Whitham Family YMCA. Leaders say during these uncertain times, the YMCA is honored to open its child care program to the heroes who are working to keep our communities running smoothly.
So we just want to kind of lessen the stress on them. We want to make sure that they feel that their kids are going to a safe place and a fun place to be able to spend their time during these tough times when I know there's a lot of stress throughout the community and at their work.
Groups are limited to no more than 10 kids. Drop-off and pickup will take place curbside, and spaces are sanitized daily. Each child who attends must be fever and symptom-free and can receive support with e-learning assignments during the day. With kids out of school, you've likely seen the social media posts, parents pulling out all the games and activities just to keep them busy. With the work week starting back up tomorrow and many parents working from home, a local teacher is sharing more about an online resource to keep kids engaged. It's called OutSchool. There are over 10,000 live online classes to choose from, conducted through video chat. Everything from art to weather facts and foreign languages.
There's hundreds of classes to choose from and many different themes. If there's a subject that might be a little bit difficult for a parent to express to their child or have the patience or the time to be able to teach them, they could probably find it on OutSchool.
All teachers have gone through background checks and classes are vetted to make sure they are safe and age appropriate. Right now, OutSchool is offering free classes up to $100 for kids and families affected by public schools shutting down. With all the time we are spending inside, the nice weather today allowed people to get out and explore. Here in Indianapolis, Indy Park's playgrounds and shelters are closed, but the trails are still open. RTV6 photojournalist Jake Weller talked to people who were out at Eagle Creek today, spending some time outdoors.
You still want to get out and try to live your life a little bit. You know, you don't want to get too cooped up and go stir crazy. You want to live life. It's just nice just to get a fresh air and just get away from the couch.
Respecting everybody's space and everything, doesn't mean that I have to stay inside the house at least, you know. I can at least take him out for some recreational activities, you know.
Just like catching the fish, because sometimes you'll catch a really big one and it feels like a really big accomplishment, I guess.
Just bringing the family out to get some fresh air. It just helps with being inside all day. We all crave to come out, get some exercise, just to kind of keep moving. Why do you like being outside?
I love muddy puddles.
Don't you think your mother would rather you be clean?
No.
Sun came out, I thought I should get a little exercise in. I've been training for a marathon this summer, so we'll see if that takes place.
You've got teenage children like us. It's good to get outside for a while, just to relieve the tension in the house and just, you know.
When I'm walking, I'm in, you know, God's creation, and I can feel his peace just by, you know, the green grass, the trees getting ready to bud.
It's very relaxing, especially the Eagle Creek here. It's beautiful. Beautiful walk, nice little trail to go to. My wife drugged me out of the house, got me off the couch.
Oh, she did?
Yes. And decided to take a walk.
Stay well, Indy. Stay out there, social distance, wash your hands. We still practice social distancing. We just stay with our family and walk.
We're not trying to really intertwine with a lot of people, but we're still trying to stay our distance as much as possible.
We keep our distance, but we're cordial to each other. We're, you know, glad to say hello and just, you know that we're doing this all together.
Get out, have some fun, man. Take your kids out, get them out the house, give them a little fishing pole, you know, rinky-dinky one, have some fun.
Jake, thank you so much. Well, developing tonight, 2 people are dead and a 3rd person is fighting for his life at the hospital after a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. IMPD officers were called to the 2500 block of North Emerson Avenue around 3:45 on reports of 3 people shot. All 3 were taken to the hospital, but 2 have since died from their injuries. The 3rd is a juvenile who is in critical condition. Police are still working to find out what led up to the shooting. The area around around a used tire shop was taped off with crime scene tape. Police did say a vehicle was found down the road from this scene, but they are trying to determine how it's connected. Investigators are asking for the public's help tonight. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Now to an RTV6 update. A pedestrian who was hit by a driver Saturday night on the north side of Indianapolis has died. Police say the man was walking near the intersection of North Rural Street and Kessler Boulevard East Drive when he stepped in front of a moving vehicle and was hit. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition and later died. We're told he was not wearing exercise clothing and did not cross at a crosswalk. The driver of the vehicle stayed at the scene and no arrests were made. Police say alcohol and drugs were not a factor in this incident, and the man's identity has not been released. We also have an update on the deadly fire in Switzerland County. This happened early Saturday morning at a home in Vevey. Police have identified all 6 victims. They were all siblings and range in age from 10 years old to 25 years old. We have each of the names of the people who died in this story on the RTV6 app. Investigators say a 33-year-old man who was the boyfriend of the 25-year-old victim was able to escape the fire. We're told he did try to go back inside and rescue the others, but was unable to due to the heavy fire and smoke. The cause of this fire still remains under investigation. The fire marshal says foul play is not suspected. A boil water order remains in effect until Monday morning on the south side of Indianapolis. Citizens Energy says a 16-inch water main broke near Stop 11 and Emerson on Saturday. The main has been repaired, but the company says the area remains under a boil water advisory until testing is completed. The advisory is in effect for those north of County Line Road and west of I-74. It also impacts customers east of I-65 north to Edgewood Avenue. If you live in those areas, you are asked to boil your water for at least 3 minutes before consuming it. Kyle.
Temperatures taking a cool turn here as we start off the week, but it's not going to take us long before we're back into some mild air. Look at your 7-day planning forecast just minutes away. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
For $3, get rallies delivered.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
At least 17 tornadoes were reported across the Midwest this weekend. One of the hardest hit areas, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Terrified workers inside a cell phone and computer shop were seen watching in fear as the twister causes transformers to explode and tosses debris into the air. And a traffic camera captures the tornado moving just north of the interstate. Fortunately, many businesses were closed because of the COVID-19 outbreak. Only 6 injuries were reported, and thankfully no deaths. The National Weather Service reported other possible tornadoes Saturday in Illinois and Iowa. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Kyle, I know you were busy all day long yesterday tracking severe weather. Luckily, we didn't have any of that here.
Yeah, we had some stormy weather that moved through central Indiana yesterday, but the good news is things are going to be very quiet here over the next several days. It has been windy today. It'll be breezy again tomorrow. Right now, those winds still out of the west and southwest, about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but that's also holding our temperatures not too far from the average high for this time of year. It's still 54 in downtown and 57 for in Bloomington and all across central Indiana. We find those temperatures still in the 50s. It's 51 right now in Peru, and Greencastle, Putnam County coming in at 54 degrees. By tomorrow morning, we'll slide back into the lower and middle 40s across the Hoosier State here. About 42 in Muncie, 44 in Bloomington, as those skies will gradually continue to clear here for much of the area. We noticed earlier when we looked at Storm Team 6 radar and the satellite, we had some more cloud cover to the north. TrueCast still holding on to a little more of that as we go through the morning hours and really on into the early afternoon of our Monday as well. But we're all going to be dry here, just a mix of sun and clouds, a little more sunshine as you work your way to the south. But if you're going to be heading off to the drive-through tomorrow, for breakfast, temperatures are going to be in the middle 40s, about 49, 50 degrees for your lunch hour, and we'll make it back into the 50s in most spots in central Indiana. But tomorrow, that wind is going to come out of the west and northwest, so we are going to see some cooler air filtering in here, and still those gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. By the time we get into tomorrow evening with sunset, that's when finally those winds will get a little calmer across the area. High temperatures, cool pocket there around Logansport, 45, 47 for you in Anderson. We'll quickly, though, find those numbers making their way into the lower and middle 50s. Crawfordsville at 53, 55 in Indianapolis, and even some lower 60s for your Monday afternoon in Bedford, Seymour, and Bloomington at 60. Cooler air, though, is going to settle in here for at least a day on Tuesday. We'll all be in the 40s for those afternoon highs with cloudy skies, but at this point it looks like the rain is going to stay a little closer to the Ohio River and areas to the south. 7-day planning forecast for you. There's the nice dry stretch of weather that we really do need. Temperatures recovering back into the middle 50s for highs on Wednesday. We're already back to around 60 degrees on Thursday. Just a small shower chance here as we get toward the end of the week. And next weekend right now looking pretty good. High temperatures back in the 60s.
Kyle, thank you. Looking forward to that dry weather. Well, with the stay-at-home orders in place across the country, it may seem like you're alone, but it is important to remember we are all in this together. After the break, hear how people across the country are coping with this new normal.
2020 Nissan Altima.
The coronavirus pandemic has ushered in a new normal for people across the globe. Much of the world is in some sort of required isolation, but it is important to remember we are all in this together. CNN photojournalist Andrew Chrisman took a moment to talk with people about how they're feeling, and some of their sentiments may be similar to what you are feeling.
COVID-19, how are you feeling?
All things considered, I'm feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty anxious.
I feel great. No illness, no sickness.
Hasn't been that tough, not really.
First, I wasn't too worried, and then I got laid off.
I'm feeling worried about a lot of my fellow people.
Basically, they just couldn't afford me anymore. It's okay, life is still working out.
How do you feel?
Good.
I'm still feeling like a sad extrovert. I need to see more people.
It just seems a bit surreal. I keep thinking it's going to end soon, but it's not.
Feeling a lot of stress and confusion. It is not clear, where this is going on a long-term trajectory.
On the one hand, it feels really normal, but you also know it's abnormal, and there are small little signs.
I've been working from home since March 13th.
You feel like you've been cooped up in the house for too long?
No.
Do you miss school?
No.
Working from home, watching Netflix.
Trying to stay active as best I can.
Just hanging out in the house and playing the banjo and
looking at the weather change through our window.
I feel like the hardest part is not be able to see our son who just lives on the other side of town.
It's not normal as usual, but we're surviving.
It's a challenge. We get the 3 kids trying to care for them, do distance learning, and work full-time.
I think the most frustrating part has been people not taking it seriously.
Stay positive, hang in there, use a lot of this stuff.
Breathe in, breathe out, and most of all, pray.
0 first month payment and 0 to its signing. Practically just sign then drive.
Love will make you do the most desperate of things sometimes, even in a pandemic, and even if you are continents apart. A Canadian-Egyptian man just couldn't wait to see his Italian-American love, who was alone in Quebec City. So he caught the last flight out of Cairo before the country was shut down and went to Canada. As soon as he arrived, he popped the question, and they are now in quarantine together and plan to get married in Italy as soon as it's safe to travel again. Maybe desperate, Kyle, but also very romantic. I like this.
Yeah, congratulations to them. As we look at our forecast, things are shaping up pretty good on Monday. It's not going to be as windy, still breezy. You could have those gusts around 30 miles per hour. And we'll have temperatures making their way into the lower 50s. That 7-day planning forecast after a chilly Tuesday really looks pretty good. Temperatures are getting back into the 60s by Thursday, and it's a dry stretch of weather. Next chance for some rain showers. Looks like that will be Friday into Saturday and should be very light across central Indiana. Thanks so much for joining us here for the news at 11. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30 in the morning.